hope away from you in Jesus' name. We come to point number 3 now. Point number 3, we're looking at tough-minded tenacity despite feebleness. Tough-minded tenacity towards despite feebleness. As we're talking about feebleness, and then you say, I understand that about the ants. I don't understand feebleness as we talk about Paul the Apostle. Or maybe you've not read what he said. Look at 2 Corinthians chapter 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. You're not the only one to feel your weakness. Paul the apostle felt his weakness. You're not the only one to feel that you don't have any strength. Paul the apostle thought and he felt he didn't have any strength. There are times to feel weak. There are times to feel feeble. But in that feebleness and weakness, you're still going to succeed. The grace of God will be multiplied in your life in Jesus' name. Look at 2 Corinthians chapter 10. We're looking at verse 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10. For his letters, they say, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak, and his speech contemptible, feeble. Even the other people commented and he said his speech is weak and contemptible. And look at 2 Corinthians chapter 1. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, and I'm reading from verse 9. It's Paul the apostle. Paul the apostle. It says in chapter 1 verse 9, for we are the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God, which raises the dead, who delivered us from so great a death, and doth deliver, and in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us. Deliverance has come for you. Let's back up to verse 8. For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble, which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure. Here is Paul the apostle talking. He said, there were times I was weak. There were times I was feeble. Then he said that we were pressed out of measure, above strength, in so much that we despaired even of life. But he had something going for him. Even though he was weak at such times, he was tough-minded. And if you're not like that, you won't be able to walk. You're just selling in a place, and the people have been selling there before. They say, no, there's no place for you here. You cannot come over here. And they push you away and they scatter your things. If you're weak and you say, well, I've tried my best, but you know, the people of this world, they don't want you to do anything. And then you change, and then you say, I'm going to do that again. The change you have made, and then you want to do another thing. When you get there, you meet opposition, rejection, resistance. And they push you away from there. Say, what am I going to do now? And because I'm weak and I don't have all the resources to go and take an office in a story building over there in a posh place, and then they're pushing you here and there. Become tough-minded. You will walk. This is your Father's land. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and nobody will drive you out of your Father's hand in Jesus' name. There's an inheritance for you. There's progress for you. And there's work for you to do. You will do it in Jesus' name. Look at 2 Corinthians. I'm reading from chapter 12. I'm reading from chapter 12 and in verse 9. And he says unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecution, in distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am but when I am, let the weak say, you know, some people say, I don't know the kind of brain I have. Your brain is good. I don't know the kind of strength I have. Your strength is all right. I don't know the kind of debilitating sickness I have. No, you are not sick. You are healed by the stripes of the Lord in Jesus' name. You can do it. in the strength of the Lord, in the power of the Lord, and in the provision the Lord has made for you. Behold, I set an open door before you, and nobody will shut that door in Jesus' name. For when I am weak, then am I strong. That man had a tough mind, tough-minded tenacity, despite feebleness. He just kept on going, You will keep on going. I said you'll keep on going, and you will reach your destination, and you will reach that success in Jesus' name. Look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 9. It says, for you remember, brethren, our labor and travail, for laboring night and day. You know, there are people that will complain about the night. Everybody is sleeping. I should be sleeping now. And they have said that if you don't have a 7-8 hours sleep every day, you're going to get into a problem. And I need to sleep. I've been looking, I've not got my 7 hours, my 8 hours, and that's the excuse to sleep also the night. And then during the day, it's so hot, and the heat is so much. They cannot work during the day because it's hot. They cannot work during the night because it's a night. But Paul the apostle said, night and day, it doesn't matter with me. Night and day laboring, because we will not be chargeable unto any of you. We preach unto you the gospel of God. Night and day working, that's tenacity. That's holding on to it, and you will not let go. Until your hand reaches that thing, you'll get it. You'll keep on doing it in Jesus' name. Look at chapter 3, verse 10. Chapter 3, verse 10. It says, night and day, praying exceedingly, that we might see your face. I tried before, I couldn't make it, so I gave up. Not Paul the apostle. And from today, not you. You will not give up. I said you will not give up. You know, sometimes you're even working in an office, and it's like they want to make your place vacant, and so that they can bring in whoever they want to bring in, and they cannot do it directly. So they try to frustrate you here, frustrate you there, so that you yourself will say, the way things are, it's like they don't want me. Nobody loves me here. Nobody wants me here. And then you resign and give up your work. No, that's of the past. From today, you will not resign. Nobody will take your name out of that their register. And you will not take your name out of that place because you are tough-minded. I said you are tough-minded. It says night and day, praying exceedingly, that we might see your face and might perfect that which is lacking in your faith. Perfection is coming to you. We're coming now to chapter 3 of 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians, we're looking at chapter 3, verse 8. 2 Thessalonians, chapter 3, and we're reading from verse 8. It says in verse 8, neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but wrought with labor and travail, night and day. That's his tenacity there, that we might not be chargeable to any of you, not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example unto you, to follow us. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work because an excuse maker, neither should he eat. You'll have a strong mind, and you have a tough mind. You'll work. I said you'll work. I said you'll work. Proverbs chapter 6, and we're looking at verse 6. It says in verse 6, go to the ants, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. I thank God you are wiser now than yesterday. Which having no guide or overseer or ruler, provideth a meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. Being tenacious, what does that mean? You give no excuse for failure. No excuse for failure. You don't come back home and tell your wife, you know, my wife, there's no job there, there's no money there, we're going to go hungry today and this weekend. no excuse for failure. Number two, no exemption from faithfulness. You're going to be faithful. You go out there and you're going to do honest job, honest work. And the work you do is not something they come and call you and say, what kind of work is this? You are faithful. No exemption from faithfulness. And then number three, no entanglement with fleeting fancies. Fleeting fancies. There's things that, they're just for the day. And they interest the people that don't have anything doing, but yours is solid work. Therefore, number one, you have doggedness with discipline. Doggedness with discipline. You stay at it. You stay at it. You stay at it. And you continue until you keep on digging until you reach the oil or you reach the water. Doggedness with discipline. Diligence without despair. There's no crying, there's no self-pity. Why am I like this? Why is always my luck, to get at difficult things and nobody ever gives way for me? Why was I born in a country like this? It's everywhere. If you're going to succeed, and thank God you're going to succeed. There's diligence without despair. There's decision with determination. I determine that this life that I have will amount to something. I will do something. Somebody there, I will do something. And therefore, there's decision with determination. Deafness to distractions. Deafness to distractions. You're going this way in the path of duty. And you're going to hear noise. You're going to see sight. That's the sight before you are going to see. But you are deaf to all those distractions. And you have dedication until death. Dedication until death. And the Lord will reward the labor and the work of your hand in Jesus' name. Do you ever get tired? Yes, we do. Sometimes we get tired. What do we do when we get tired? We do our duty. We do what needs to be done. Tiredness or no tiredness. That's what we're referring to, a top-minded tenacity. We're looking at Judges chapter 8. Judges chapter 8. Judges chapter 8. What you have started, you will finish. The project you have started, you'll finish. That building you are putting up, you will finish. That career you are running after, you're going to see a successful end in Jesus' name. Judges chapter 8, I'm looking at verse 4. And Gideon came to Jordan and passed over, he and the 300 men that were with him. Tell me the rest of that verse. Tell me out loud. Say it with other people. Faint, yet pursuing them. Faint, yet pursuing them. That's a person that has a mind to succeed. And that's coming upon you today. You will prosper. You will succeed. You will not fail. You will not falter. We come to sustainable strategy against famine. Sustainable strategy against famine. There's famine in the land, no doubt.